Good morning, Virgo. Uh, Something changed, not in them, um, in you. Um, and the change in you, in quiet as it was, unannounced as it was, um, produced something in them um, that all the hoping and waiting and being available never could. Uh, Panic, recognition, the specific, slightly nauseating realization uh, that something they assumed was permanent is not. Uh, and now uh, they're losing their mind over you. The version of you is less than #05# that stopped waiting for them to notice. Let's start with the taking for granted because it deserves to be named clearly. Not to assign blame, uh, to understand the mechanism. Taking someone for granted in the relationship context is rarely malicious. It's almost never, I see this person clearly and I have decided they don't matter. It's quieter than that, more unconscious. It's the slow, almost imperceptible uh, process of a person becoming part of the assumed landscape. Like furniture that was once chosen deliberately and is now simply there, uh, present, reliable, um, not requiring attention because it has never threatened to be absent. Uh, and you, um, for longer than felt acceptable, were present, um, reliable, available, um, absorbing, showing up uh, consistently in ways that required nothing from them because you had learned or been trained um, to make your showing up as easy as possible for the person you were showing up for. And ease, as generous as the impulse behind it is, trains people to stop noticing. Not because they're bad, because ease removes the friction that keeps attention engaged. And without friction, um, without any signal that something valuable might not always be available, um, the attention drifts toward what's uncertain, toward what requires effort, away from what simply reliably continues. That was the dynamic. Um, and you felt it probably for longer than you admitted, is less than #0# even to yourself. The specific is less than #0 7# hollow quality is less than #hone 0# of giving your best is less than #0 5 hash to someone who had stopped fully registering it is less than hash 0, 7 hash. This reflection invites you to consider, when did you first feel it? The specific moment or the accumulation of moments where something in you registered, um, I am not being seen here, not the way I deserve to be seen, not the way I would see someone who mattered this much to me. Because that registration, however long it was overridden, was accurate. And what you eventually did, the thing that changed everything, was simply start honoring that registration. Um, Instead of overriding it one more time for them, the second energy coming through. And this is the one that explains everything that followed twile, is what you did. And what you did uh, isn't as complicated as it might feel from the inside. It wasn't a strategy. It wasn't calculated. It wasn't a move designed to produce a specific reaction. Um, it was a decision, quiet, internal, um, possibly made in an ordinary moment, without announcement, without drama, without even fully knowing uh, at the time uh, what it was going to produce. The decision to stop. Um, Stop making yourself so available. Stop absorbing what wasn't being reciprocated. Stop shrinking the parts of yourself that were inconvenient to the dynamic. Stop waiting for someone to notice what you had quietly stopped offering. Um, and in stopping, you did something that all the effort and availability never managed to do, um, is less than hash 0, 7 hash. You became visible in the specific, alarming, uh, finally impossible to ignore way that only happens when something assumed permanent suddenly signals uh, it might not be. And the visibility produced what nothing before it could. Their full, uh, undivided, slightly panicked attention. Uh, Now, let's talk about what losing their mind actually looks like. Because that phrase, however satisfying it might sound, deserves to be understood precisely. Losing their mind over you. In this context, is not a breakdown, it's a recalibration, is less than hash 0, 7 hash. The specific, slightly disorienting recalibration of someone whose internal model of a situation has suddenly stopped matching reality. Um, they had a model is less than has own 0 hash. It said is less than hash 0 5 hash. This person is available. Is less than hash 0 7 hash. This person will continue. Is less than hash hone 0 hash. This person is part of the reliable landscape. Um, and then without warning, um, the model stopped fitting. The person they thought they knew started behaving in ways the model didn't account for. And the gap between the model and the new reality is what's producing what looks like losing their mind. Um, they're scrambling to update to understand what changed, um, to figure out how to restore what the new behavior has made them suddenly aware they don't want to lose. Um, and that scrambling, that urgency is information uh, about what they value, about what your presence, now that it feels potentially unavailable, actually means to them. Information worth having, worth reading clearly, without letting the satisfaction of being finally seen uh, rush you into a response before you fully processed what you're seeing. This reflection invites you to consider what specifically changed in you before it changed in them, not the behavior that produced their reaction, the internal shift that produced the behavior. Because behavior without internal shift is performance. And performance, uh, however effective in the short term, um, is exhausting to maintain. But a genuine internal shift, a real change in what you're willing to accept, um, and what you're not, that doesn't require maintenance. It just continues naturally uh, because it's true. So, what shifted internally? And is it the kind of shift uh, that holds is less than hash own 0 hash, regardless of what they do next? Because that distinction between a real shift and a strategic one um, is less than hash own. 0 hash determines everything about what comes after this moment. The third energy, and this is the one that requires the most care, is what happens next. Um, because this moment, the one where they're losing their mind, is the most dangerous moment in this entire dynamic. Not dangerous in a harmful sense, dangerous in the This is where the pattern either breaks or reinstates itself sense. Because when someone who took you for granted starts losing their mind over you, they tend to reach hard with everything available to them. The warmth that was absent, the attention that was withheld, the words that were never said, um, the version of themselves that you always hoped was in there is less than hash zero. 7 hash suddenly and is less than hash hone. 0 hash visibly present is less than hash 0 5 hash. And that version, the reached version, is compelling, because it looks like what you always wanted, sounds like what you always wanted, um, feels like finally, finally, um, and the pull to return to the previous configuration immediately is enormous. Don't. Uh, Not because they don't deserve a chance, not because the reached version isn't real, but because returning immediately, before the behavior has had time to be demonstrated consistently, sends a very specific message. It sends the old configuration is still available uh, when you reach hard enough. And if the old configuration is still available, when they reach hard enough, um, the reaching stops the moment they feel secure again. Uh, and you're back. Same pattern, different chapter. The thing that breaks the pattern permanently is requiring the demonstration before the return, is less than hash 0 7 hash, not the promise, is less than hash 0 7. The demonstration is less than hash 0 5 hash sustained, is less than hash 0 7 hash over time, is less than hash hone 0 hash without the guarantee, is less than hash 0 5 hash of the return is less than hash 0 7 hash motivating it is less than hajon 0 hash. This reflection invites you to consider what would sustained demonstration from this specific person actually look like. Not in the peak of losing their mind over you, in the ordinary moments. 3 months from now, when the panic has settled, and what remains is just how they treat you on a Tuesday. What would that look like if the change were real? Name it. specifically, um, behaviorally. Um, so you know what you're looking for rather than being swept along by the intensity of the reaching, um, before the ordinary has had a chance to reveal um, what the reaching was actually made of. Here's what's also worth naming um, in this reading, um, because sometimes in the satisfaction of being finally seen, people make a mistake. Um, they make the being seen the goal, uh, rather than what they actually wanted before the dynamic became about not being seen and what you actually wanted. Underneath all of it wasn't to be seen panicking over, it was to be consistently valued, reliably considered, um, treated as the priority. Um, you were always willing to treat them as before the dynamic made that feel one sided. Uh, Panic is not the same as consistent value, it can be the beginning of it, but it is not by itself um, the thing. The thing, the actual thing you were always wanting, um, is the Tuesday version. Um, the unremarkable, nobody is watching, no panic is motivating, uh, consistent choosing of you. Keep that as the standard, not the panic, the Tuesday. The power is yours. Um, it always has been. You did something possibly without fully knowing what it would produce that needed to be done. Um, you honored what you were registering, um, instead of overriding it one more time. And what that produced uh, in them um, is real. Now, uh, stay in what produced it. Um, don't trade the internal shift for the comfort of the reaching stopping. Don't return to the old configuration um, before the new one has been demonstrated as real. You change something um, in yourself um, that was never about them. It was always about you. And what you're willing to accept is less than #05#, and what you're not. Um, Keep that, regardless of what they do next, um, regardless of how loud the losing their mind gets, regardless of how compelling the reached version appears, is less than #0. 7#, keep the internal shift, is less than #hone 0#. It's the most valuable thing that came out of this, is less than #05#, more valuable than their reaction. is less than hash 07 hash, more valuable than being seen, is less than hason 0 hash, um, is less than hash 05 hash, you finally saw yourself clearly, is less than hash 07 hash, that's the whole thing, is less than hash hone 0 hash, that's always been the whole thing.